The crap that I do, folks. They wanted to take a photo of me holding these cabbages. These are, it feels like at least 20 kilos here. Hey, put the camera down and take these off me before I drop them. Come on. Oh, one at a time. They're heavy as. Bugger me. Oh, look, wait just one second. I'll just do my bicep curls. That's it. All right, that's enough. Get it off. Cramp. All right. Look at this. Now I've got dribble all over me. Anyway, we're talking tomatoes here, folks. Actually, let me get the tomatoes. All right, here we go. Now, these are tomatoes from Andrea's place. You saw the last couple of little videos we uploaded. We were out in Thomastown checking out his front garden. Well, you haven't seen his back garden yet. And this is the leftovers. He propagated these by leaf cutting. Here's an example. See that? That's the leaf of a tomato plant that he cut off. For example, like this. That's the leaf. Stripped a couple of the bottom leaves off it like that and popped that straight in the ground. And this is what he got out of it. What's this? Eggshells. Look at that. It's actually got eggshells in there too. So that's the bottom of the leaf. It's growing new roots because they're adventitious roots. See all the little lumps you got on developing on the stem there? That tells you when it connects to soil, it grows these new roots out of it. It develops more roots. Whatever part of the plant stem touches the soil or is near to it. Now I'm seeing a little bit of blotching here, folks. That's a bit of a concern. And I dare say it's only happened because they've been sitting in his bucket. I didn't realize it didn't have a hole in it. I left it out in the rain and we've had 2 days of solid rain. These are Italian Malaccas, yeah. Bit of blight there. See that marking there? That's a concern. Unfortunately, see if I can salvage these. I'm going to pop them in the ground away from my other plants. Mind you, these are going to be the second batch of tomatoes I'm putting in the ground. These are Italian tomatoes. I'm not going to call them Italian Malaccas because I haven't grown these before. And these, that's not bad. Still got signs. See that there? Those discolorations, the blotches on the stem. Bit of a concern there. I'm worried if it does spread. I'm going to give them a go, and I dare say it'll only spread by the rain because it spreads by water, and once one plant gets infected it's pretty hard to fix. This one looks pretty clean. That one looks good. And that's another stem. Look at all the roots developing on that. Now I might be able to salvage some of these stems and pop them in the ground. I'm talking about these leaves here. They're nice and clean. I might be able to propagate those. And if you want to propagate a variety that you've got growing in your garden and you're really happy with it, but you haven't got any more plants, you can do it quite simply by cutting a leaf off. Even a side shoot like this here, see that little sucker coming up there? You can take that off and stick it straight in the ground and walk away from it. Obviously keep it away from too much sunlight, especially on hot days. They'll tolerate the sun as long as it's cool, but if it's too hot, they'll struggle. Yeah, I'm taking them all out just to inspect them. These are good. That's good. This one isn't. I'm putting them aside, and it's hard to tell because I'm touching them too, and that's a concern. It can spread. Let's hope it doesn't. Don't mind my fingernails. I've been gardening all morning, and I took out those cabbages, by the way, the ones you just saw earlier. We took them out because they were way past their use-by date, and we're going to do some pickling, some sauerkraut and pickling of those. That's a good one too. So we got 4, I think, safe to play with, and this one here as well. Okay, all right, so I've handled them a bit too much, so we'll pop them in separately to each other and hopefully we don't spread the love. Come along. Unlike Andrea's garden, which is thriving with the spring-summer varieties, I've yet to plant mine. I've actually just started last week, and that's in the other bed we've seen earlier in a couple of episodes. This bed here I've just cleaned up, and I have taken out some of the roots from the broccolis and the cabbages and the cauliflowers. There's some research that I've done on it saying that you shouldn't leave them in the ground. I haven't done it before, only because I've always turned the soil over, but in this garden bed, because I'm trying this no-dig theory or method, I decided to leave some cabbages in. Well, the reason why I've left them in, if you want to come around here, is because I can't pull it out. This thing, I can dig a big hole and make a mess of it. The aim is not to dig a big hole. and leave the soil undisturbed. I've actually just scratched the surface using a cultivator. That's all I've done, just cracked the surface open. I haven't dug it over. It looks like it's been dug, but it hasn't been. So we're still going on with the same principle of the no-dig garden. What we're going to do here is top it up with our planting mix only. But before we do that, we're going to add our black grit and superfood. You can see how it's a little bit wet here because I just watered it earlier. And I stopped just to make sure that, well, I stopped so I can show you guys what I'm doing, because we get carried away sometimes. I want to get it all done straight away, but I get told, wait, save it for the camera. So this is superfood. I'm using the coarse grade here, which is a slow release, along with a black grit. And for those who don't know what superfood is, it's a soldier fly larvae frass with chitin mixed into it, and that's the brown stuff. You see that light stuff there? That's the exoskeletal shell, the shell of the insect as it grows into its next size. And they multiply in size within, I think, 3 weeks or so. And they go from a tiny pinhead size to this about 7, 8, 9 millimeters long, probably longer in size, like a little grub. And they are really big, fast eaters. They really consume all the produce that we feed them and turn it into this wonderful frass. Now the black grit is a rock mineral, one of a kind in Australia, so you may find other rock minerals around there, and all with due respect, they're probably good in their own accord, but nothing like the black grit, because there isn't anything like that. We've done the trials on it. Black grit's a calcium silicate, phosphate, magnesium, and it basically gets digested by the microbes in the soil. It breaks down and it balances the nutrient release to the plant, so you don't have this excessive nitrogen boost or any of the other elements in the soil. It stabilizes it and it helps the plant absorb better. So the calcium is like a trucker, I call it, of minerals. So it carries all the other minerals and allows it to go up to the plant. You don't need a lot of it. You only need a handful. You saw me just doing that. The same with the superfood. Just a handful like that per about square meter, and the same with the black grit. You don't need any more than that. And I'm doing this as a top dress of an existing garden bed that we've just finished harvesting. And that's it. As a top dress, you can use compost if you like, but I prefer the planting mix because we've done a blend of different organic matters together, including our superfood black grit. It's also got worm castings, compost, a manure in there. It's got cocoa pith, and the little white stuff, or sort of the light tan coloured stuff, is rice hull. And that's just another texture added to it so we can get the porosity happening. Now this is a very light dress, folks. Doesn't need a lot. It's full of rich organic matter. If you need to build it up, you can put about 4 to 6 inches of it, about 50 mil, 100 mil of it if you like. But an existing bedding, you can see how this is sort of tapered up and it's starting to rise up higher. We don't need to add a lot. I'm just giving it a light feed, and we've already done the superfood underneath it in a black grit. So just a light covering over the top, a couple of centimeters, is all it needs. And I should mention here, after 3 or 4 days of solid rain, folks, on the soil here, look at it, it's still dry. It's a bit damp underneath and the sun's got onto it and it's just dried the surface out. Now, that's something to take note of. If you've got a beautiful mixture, even like our planting mix, this is just an amazing blend, if I don't say so myself. Even that itself will go off if you leave it exposed to the direct sunlight. It hasn't got a covering over the top. And what I mean by that is actually applying a mulch over the top of this. Otherwise, it'll turn like that. It'll kill off all the life in the soil, the microbes won't populate, and you're just going to struggle to keep it hydrated too. You use a nice trowel to dig a little hole like that and mix in the top blend as well. If you've added the planting mix or even just compost, it's nice to blend it through there and just break it up, make it nice and loose. And I've got old roots in here from the cauliflowers that we were growing in here. They'll just decompose and become a food source for the good microbes in the soil. Now, we don't have to do a lot to this. Might just remove the bottom leaf. I'm going to have to pinch that, it's a bit soft, like that there. And just getting in position. Now, we spoke about the adventitious roots that they are. Let me get this out. Planting it a little bit deeper will actually benefit the plant itself. So it can grow more roots along the stem, just like that there. It's not a lot deeper, but what we can do with these plants, and I've done it in the past all the time actually, what I'm referring to, folks, is a pot sleeve. Now I've taken in this case here, it's a 25 centimetre pot. I've cut the bottoms off so they become a little pipe like that, little funnel. Well, not quite a funnel, but you know what I mean. And what we do is sit it over the top and just press it into the soil ever so slightly like that. Now what the benefit of this is, wait, let me get it centered. Make sure it's centered as well, by the way. The benefit of this is that you can water directly over the plant here and concentrate the water in that area where the root zone is. But it's still important to hydrate the rest of the garden bed as well. Now, you can see the drip system here. I'm going to install a second line on this side because I talk about deep watering. Some of you might not need to do that. I need to, because we don't get the moisture down deep enough for ourselves here in this property, in this environment that I'm in. So I need to have a drip system. I'm going to mulch around, and I'm also going to water over the top of the plant here so I can hydrate it as best I can. And as the plant grows, and we spoke about the adventitious roots that they are, as the plant grows across the top like this, we're going to add more soil in the pot, in the sleeve, for example, that it's sitting in there. And as we cover it up, we're going to get more new roots developing along this stem here, which will toughen the plant up and make it more resilient against pests and diseases. Obviously, you need the superfood and black root to help it along as well. And the main benefit for me, because of where I am and the type of climate that we have here, is that it actually protects the plant. It becomes a barrier against high winds, and it deters the pests getting in there. And I'm referring to insects that like to crawl around the base of the plant, and even birds coming along and scratching around, causing a lot more damage to a poor seedling than you'd really care to see happening. We're doing the double barrel here, about 30-40 mil, normally about 20 half strength is a good way to go, but I think I know how to measure without looking at it, folks. But do use 20 mil per 9 litres of each. Don't do what I do. Get yourself a little measuring cup or something similar that you can measure it properly, and that way you're rest assured that you're not going to over fertilise them. And you can do it every couple of weeks. That's the Eco Butch and Liquid Gold. Give them a good soak with Eco Butch and Liquid Gold just to stimulate, and don't leave anything like this in the garden bed. Couch grass, even though it looks dead, it will germinate. So soak them well with the biostimulants, folks, and that will just activate the microbes in the soil to kickstart the party, because that's what they want to have, a party around the root zone of your plants to grow big, strong and healthy. Now we're also going to hydrate around the bed, not just in the pots. I've done that purposely with the liquid fertilizers, but I'm using the watering one to hydrate the rest of the garden bed before we mulch. It's important to hydrate the bed before you mulch it, because you want to make sure the garden bed is soaked. It's got actually water in it, because without water, there's no life. We've said that before, we'll say it again. If you don't water, there's only a short period of time before the plant gives up, curls up, dries out and dies. And don't come running to me and saying, why did my plants die, if you forgot to water them? Understanding? So I'm not going to mulch them now because I haven't got the mulch ready, but I'll be back here tomorrow to finish mulching these. And what we're going to do with these tomatoes, folks, well, these are the Italian ones from Andrea's place. You're going to see them in the upcoming episodes on our page as you're watching this. His tomatoes, which are much more advanced, these are only cuttings. He's already got tomatoes growing on them, and they look beautiful. They really do. So we're going to monitor these and make sure they grow well. And if we get any of those blotches on the stems, well, I'm going to take some of the leaf cuttings and propagate those next to them so that I can grow a healthy plant. I'm going to avoid allowing these to grow too big. And if you've got blotches on your stems of your tomatoes, do the same thing. You're going to need to discard them. They really won't perform to their full capacity when they are disease infected like that. It's unfortunate it happens. I mean, they've just turned up here like this, and I can't say it was from his place because I had him in that bucket there for 2 days, and I only realized it was a bucket, not a pot. So they've been holding a lot of water, and this weather has been really hard on a lot of gardens. I'm about to gut the rest of this garden and do my spring summer crop planting in the next few days overall. But with this radical weather that we're having, we really got to be careful, like I've got to be careful with her, that our plants don't get infected or attacked or diseased or shat on. Looking for some of our great products? Well, go to our website, vasilisgarden.com. We're running our pre-Christmas special, so use the coupon code word Merry Christmas, spelled with an X, and get up to 80% off. That's not everything, but there are a few things there that you're going to get a huge discount on, and you've got click and collect from Lethbridge and Dandenong. From me, Vasili, Maresi.